Sweet.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for the nice intro, David, and for reaching out because this is a, it's a there's a lot of going things going on in the world, but when we're talking about the best basketball player, you know, actually before I get started with that, I'll just let you guys know. Look, I'm from Australia. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I'm the same age as LeBron, so I mean, so basically the effect of basketball globally began with the Dream Team. I mean that just blew everything up. And I remember when I was a kid, I was 7 years old. Basketball cards, all the VHS videos of Jordan and the Dream Team, everything was just it was just a crazy time, and it just grew in popularity since then. But since LeBron came in
You
to the
guys
league,
talk.
it seems as if Jordan is quite afraid of his legacy being taken over by LeBron for many reasons. And one of the things that happened when the Cavs won the chip in 2016, like the greatest comeback ever of any NBA team, coming back from 3-1 down against all odds against a already stacked team, probably even more stacked than the Cavs themselves, if you look into it.
Right.
Um, if you do your research, you'll see that immediately after they won that chip, Jordan released the tapes for the Last Dance documentary because him and his team were thought that this could be an attack to his legacy. So, and I'm gonna post shortly a post of Bill Simmons, like if you guys know from The Ringer.
Yeah.
So he actually said that himself from his own knowledge and research in the industry. Of course, there's articles all over the internet you'll find, but obviously the mainstream media aren't going to tell you any of this because there's so much writing on Jordan being the GOAT. I mean, you look at his brand, the Jordan brand. This is the greatest sporting advertising campaign in history. Well, yeah, the rules changed for him to suit his style of play in the 90s. The 90s was a weak league. If you do the research, compared
Right.
to the 80s, I mean, there's an expand there's 6 teams added to the league in the 90s during his tenure with the Bulls during his championship runs. There's over 100 players added to the league. It watered down the league. There's a video interviews of Larry Bird voicing his opinion on that. It's on there. It's on the internet. He says, "I believe this is the expansion teams have depleted the league of talent," and that's his words, word for word. So not only him, Dr. J, in that same interview, is part of the broadcast. He actually said Julius Erving. He said, "I believe he believes his '83 Philadelphia team that won the chip that season would have beat the '96 Bulls. That's still covering the '96 finals against the Supersonics. So like it's." The
Yeah.
information is out there. So because obviously the toughness level was different in the 80s compared to the soft 90s, which a lot of the Jordashians, which I call them, they have no idea. And so
Yeah.
I just drum it in, I just drum it in, I drum it in. And, but when they do, if they ever do the research, they'll find out I'm exactly right.
Right.
So
And when you talk about the rule changes that they made for Jordan, what specifically are you talking about?
the main rule was the illegal defense rule, which was introduced in 88, I believe, 87 or 88. Uh, it's where now zone defense, which actually came into play and was allowed to be used in the NBA in 2002, Jordan's last season. And he even voiced himself. If he ever had to face zone defense in his career, he wouldn't have survived. He wouldn't have had the career he had. This is Michael Jordan. It's all out there. But the thing is, the league changed. They didn't have zone defense, but they introduced the illegal defense rule, which basically what happens is you cannot slide on to the person with the ball, or if you got the ball, the
Uh-huh.
defense cannot slide off from another
Uh-huh.
defender across. So you need this is one-on-one, man-to-man defense. like you can with zone. So if let's say you're
Yeah.
defending another person, uh, and the person with the ball, the player with the ball is defended by a player as well. You cannot slide over to halfway to sort of trick them into where you can just instantly double team like that. You needed to double team and commit from the beginning of the play. So if you did that, if you slide over, it's illegal defense. I'm pretty sure they get a point, or they can go for a free throw and then they get the ball.
Uh-huh.
So it really suited Jordan's style of play, which was all ISO. He's a great
Yeah.
ISO player, and I don't want to sort of limit his ability. He was amazing, like supreme athlete for his era. Okay, that's understood, and his ISO play was just outstanding. You know, and then screening from that, you got T Mac, Vince Carter, all these dudes coming out as a result of the way of Jordan's style of play. That's fine. Okay. But the
Right.
that rule a couple of straight away he made conference finals. He didn't make any conference finals before that. So and also Pippen, his first season was 87. So he was drafted into the league. So that was his rookie season. So a mixture of that. And people are like, oh yeah, he's just a rookie. He had to learn how to play. Look, he was already elite, you know. Like they had to work some things out, but they had Doug Collins as the coach, Hall of Fame coach now, who's inducted this year. I think it was last year actually. Last year he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I say, okay, he's a Hall of Fame coach, the Hall of Fame caliber coach, and he couldn't win. His last season as head coach of the Bulls, he won the most games that he won with the Bulls. You know, made the most progress. Yeah, he made the conference finals,
Yeah.
but then they got rid of him for Phil Jackson. But this is when Phil Jackson then came in with Tex Winter, who was already on the coaching team, but he was literally put at the end of the bench because Doug Collins didn't want to use the triangle. So this is a whole bunch of goat systems and
Right.
coaches, and as we know, Phil Jackson eventually made his own name as the GOAT coach, head coach. Tex Winter, the GOAT assistant
Yeah.
coach, the triangle. No other team during Jordan's run ever utilized that system, the triangle offense
What's
at
up?
all for some reason. Like
Oh, we got
it's
some new
nuts.
people
And
here.
yeah, and they demoralized the whole
I'm
league.
just gonna show you who we got. It's Edd Bazaar. He's a bronze specialist zooming in with us from Australia. So, okay, and then also we wanted to know more about like the legacy aspect. Like, there's a lot online about how LeBron uses the media to influence people and how Clutch Sports Group is employing people like Nick Wright and other these guys that are just being employed by Clutch Sports to push that narrative. So I was curious to hear your take on that.
What about Shannon Sharp? He works for
Yeah,
ESPN right across, and then you got Stephen A. Smith, who actually is like the the main face of ESPN, who vouched for him and saved his career to bring him there. He's all LeBron, so look, there can be LeBron fans. It's just people they cannot handle that there's an opposing side, and they're just making up all these stories. It's as simple as that. Nick Wright, he doesn't have a right to his own opinion, just because he has his own
yeah.
show. I mean,
I mean,
look,
just to
and then you
push
got
back a little bit from their
yeah.
perspective, they say that like Clutch Sports is like paying these guys to put out that narrative that LeBron is the GOAT,
Well, no, have they paid JJ Redick?
right?
He came up with his own opinions anyway. You know, okay, now he's head coach. They had a podcast. Doesn't matter. But he was on ESPN on his own terms and his own right, for his own abilities as an analyst, decimating all of Stephen A. Smith's arguments. Look, it's all there. Like he makes them look like idiots. It makes them look like kids actually, because a lot of it's based on fantasy, and the whole as I said, is that it's the largest sporting most successful sporting advertising campaign in history. And they're all suckers to it because it's all
Right.
based on nostalgia. And then there's an element of fantasy and from what they imagine. And they talk about us on YouTube these days, or people in general. Oh, it's all highlight. You just like talking about highlight reels. What do you think? What do you think Michael Jordan Come Fly With Me that I grew up watching was? Highlight reels just on VHS. I mean, it was the same deal. Like
Yeah.
it's just dumb logic. So but as a okay, that's that.
Yeah.
But there can be LeBron fans. But the thing is, like, which is why I appreciate Nick Wright. This is why I appreciate Shannon Sharp. You know, Shannon Sharp wasn't even an NBA player, but he's done his research. JJ Redick is he's like a lunatic, like in terms of like a psychopath in terms of his knowledge and the way he approaches his coaching and like he demands respect, you know, and he's
Yeah.
just a spot on
Yeah,
three
those guys
shooter.
are great. And I think that's also very interesting, but we're gonna get like one or two questions from everybody
Sure,
else, and then I'm seeing that it's past 8, so we're also gonna start the watch party soon. So
sure.
maybe just like 5 to 10 more minutes. I'm
Okay,
gonna
sure.
see.
I'll try and keep
It's
the
tough
answers
because
as
we don't
short
have
as
much
possible.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You can just come also. If anybody wants to ask them anything, feel free.
My name's Naji. I just wanted to ask, in what year do you think it was finalized that LeBron was becoming the GOAT or was just the GOAT?
Well, he was always the chosen one as soon as he came into the league, but he had a lot going against him. That's the thing. But there's several things that happened up until the 2016 chip with the Cavs, which is historical. You know, the first championship for the for Cleveland in over 50 years. Um, that's so monumental. The comeback 3-1. And it had Jordan afraid.
Yeah.
That's when the real Jordan versus LeBron arguments began to through on the internet and became an actual question, and then it's just sprung from there, really. But as I like, if you look at that's 2016. If you look at this 2013 season, he should have got defensive player of the year. Marc Gasol got defensive player of the year. He was all defensive second team, and he only made that because he was lucky because he wouldn't even make the second team, but because Joakim Noah and I've got it mind back. Anyway, there's two guys that made the first team. It's the first time it's happened that six players made the all defensive first team. They put them on the same position because they tied. They didn't put one on the first team, one on the second team. They put them both on the first team, and this never happened. This never happened again either. And then they bumped up Marc Gasol from nothing into the second team, and then he won it. And LeBron was he was had the most one of the most dominant defensive seasons ever. He 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 was known throughout the league. He defends all five positions. There's video evidence of it. All five positions effectively, and he was second in votes to Tony Allen, but he really should have won because Tony Allen didn't do the coverage that LeBron covered. So there would have been the most successful season ever, surpassing Jordan, Defensive Player of the Year, all NBA first team, All Star, MVP, Finals MVP. It would have been the most um, and surpassing Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year season as well. Which, if you do the research now, there's a lot of controversy as to how he came through as Defensive Player of the Year as well, because basically he was rigged. So yeah, look,
Yeah.
it surely began from there, but 2016 definitely, and it's sprang on since then, and now it's just to me it's undeniable.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Um, I think we're gonna go now to watch the rest of the game, but I'm just gonna point my camera at everyone else so they can thank you for making the time to come today. Um, we're very
Thanks, thanks
we're
everyone.
very
Look,
grateful to you. So thank you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again.
yeah, let's try and arrange something we can get a little bit more in depth, and I'm willing to take more questions from you guys. I've done all the research, and yeah, it's like an exciting time. I think this is something that needs to be known more than just you know, a few people here and there. I think we should make it more widely known. So yeah, let's do it.
Yes, that's a big thing that we're also trying to get out at the University of Maryland campus. But thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Have a good
See you
one.
guys. Bye.